What are the responsibilities of being a QA, of QAs?
Ang QA, sila yung responsible sa pag-check ng quality ng materials na dadating sa site. So, kunwari, sa concrete, pag nagbubuhos tayo or nag-concrete bush, kumukuha tayo ng sample cylinder na tinitest kada 7 days, kada 14 days, and 28 days na kailangan mag-conform siya sa strength na 4-7 days, 14 days, 28 days. Then then sa rebars naman, tinetesting natin yung tensile strength niya, then bending strength sa mga testing center.
Sir, ano pong mangyari pag walang QA?
Pag walang QA, pwedeng dayain ng mga contractors yung mga materials natin na substandard sila. Sila nagko-conform sa specifications and design.
So, paano pag bumagsak sa testing yung materials?
Pag bumagsak sa testing yung mga materials natin, ang ginagawa namin is binabarring test namin for the second time. Pero, kung bumagsak pa rin siya, papapull out namin siya at hindi namin siya papadali. Then, papapalitan namin ng bagong materials. Then, testing ulit muna bago i-upload.
Ano yung message mo for aspiring QA or QA/QC?
Para sa mga aspiring QA/QC, maging honest lang tayo sa mga results or kasi ma-experience natin yung mga nagbibigay ng suhol or para pumasa yung products nila or yung materials. So, sa akin, honesty yung talagang main key para maging maayos yung project or para maging isa kang QA/QC.
Good morning po, sir. So, for our first question po, what is your profession?
I'm a licensed civil engineer. Particularly, I am working as a structural engineer and a geotechnical engineer.
So, how long have you been a engineer po?
In my field, I've lasted for at least 4 years. For at least 4 years. I have 4 years of industry practice, particularly the consultancy, and I also work as a freelance engineer to other clients.
Are you happy with what you're doing, sir?
Actually, I am totally happy. But of course, there are some certain implications with regards to my job.
May I ask what is that implication, sir?
Probably something to do with fulfilling what is specified in your specifications, particularly the one that you need in your construction. For example, if you need this particular type of material, specific material, but you cannot actually meet that standard, then that's one of the few implications that you have to wash out. One of the factors of those implications are, number one, top of the list is money. For of course, if you're the normal connotation of a person is if you are dealing with high quality, it is obviously meaning that the price is extremely high or probably high. And the other factor is the considering it is high quality. The other implication is it workable or is it to do? That's one thing. Those are the two things that classified as implications when with regards to my work.
So, sir, since you mentioned high quality in your previous answer, maybe ask, is there a specific person in charge of the quality assurance of the project?
Mm, actually, not just a person, but many persons. How do you say it? There's such thing as a certain quality, but the person, or rather saying the persons involved in imposing those qualities are actually have different functions. For example, I'm a structural engineer. For example, um, when I design, I specify the strength of each and every material that I'm going to use. For example, I have a certain concrete strength. I have a yield strength of the reinforcement. So, if you're talking of a certain strength, be sure you have to be assured that how do you say it? You have to impose the designer as a designer. I have to impose a certain specification or document that must be followed by the contractor. So as a structural designer, so in other words, as a structural designer, I impose the quality needed for a certain project. Now, the other persons to consider the quality of a certain project is the project manager, for example. He or she, the contractor, he or she must follow what is written in the plans at the same time what is written in the specifications. If there are any implications, or rather saying, if there are conflicts between the two, then it is the responsibility of the contractor, the project manager rather saying, to check with regards to the designer if that is what should be followed, what is written in the plan or what is written in the specifications. So he or she must provide a certain proof of test, rather saying, if to assure the quality that we want in a construction or a certain project, the project manager is responsible of performing numerous tests if that certain material is passing the specification. If not, okay, he or she must make some remedy, or rather saying, go back to the designer. What can we do regarding this?
Sir, additional question, what are the usual problems that you encountered during the checking of quality of these materials and specifications?
How do you say it? Let me see. What is the question? Sorry.
What are the problems that you encounter with regards with the quality checking of the materials and the specifications?
Okay. So one problem that I normally encounter is this: when you are the one doing the design, you're doing the drawing and you're doing the specification, and once you submit that to the client, for example, the the assigned project manager by the client is sometimes deviating on what is written on the either on the plan or on the specifications, which put the quality of the entire project into jeopardy. You're make the story short, you're putting the quality of the project in question.
Sir, besides the good qualities we had, what other malpractices did you encounter on site?
On site, malpractices. Wait. Let me recall. There's so many. Okay. Malpractices, I guess. Okay. Here are the there are actually two, because I've encountered reinforced concrete and structural steel. Okay, and even geotechnical. In reinforced concrete construction, the one that I encounter is they are when they are performing splicing or connecting to reinforcements. Okay, supposedly, for example, if the specification says that you're going to tie it using a tie wire, okay, okay, some of the contractors, or rather saying the contractors of those, are actually doing the splicing, which not written
Not
on the
specified.
not specified in the specification. So the issue there is, for example, splicing could be not so familiar to the Philippine setting, for example, and we are not assured that it will give the same strength as the tie wire, so to speak. The issue the issue was okay the issue was probably if we don't know the extent, or rather saying the capacity of a certain method, we are not also assured what will be the quality that we will get in total. When it comes to structural steel, for example, okay, normally when we are dealing with connections, okay, we provide some attachments like what we call as cover plates. So in order to assure that each and every member will connive and distribute the loads, for example. Unfortunately, some of the malpractices that I encounter is that they simply weld the member directly to the other member, which is a cardinal sin. I can classify that as a cardinal sin because number one, the contractor, or let's say the builders, must follow what is written in your plan. They shouldn't override, or you shouldn't override what is written on the plan, or else the quality again will be put in jeopardy.
So, sir, with those malfunctions you mentioned, sir, what was the worst experience that you've encountered?
Ay,
The worst.
the worst I guess was actually during my life in the consultancy. In Tansa Cavite, I designed one of the largest silo systems for a certain company. I will not mention the company because it's too private.
Okay.
Okay. The issue was this, okay? It's all about a silo foundation. The problem was this. What is written in the specifications have to provide a 95% relative compaction in the soil that is compacted inside the silo foundation. Unfortunately, there's a certain period, I'm not sure about the date, but I'm guessing it's July of year 2014. Okay, July of 2014 or 2015, sorry. The client called us that the silo foundation is literally failing by means of cracking. Okay, the issue was totally shocking because in our side we are quite assured that we meet the requirements, and we even surpass the strength that we required. I mean, for example, we established to use only half the strength of the entire concrete,
But
but we reduce the strength further. I mean, for example, if I assign the strength half of the entire strength, I have 500 millimeters of dimension. But honestly, we provided greater than that, which is making the entire structure stronger. Now, on that same moment, okay, they did mention that when they are filling up the silos, when they fill up the silos, the problem is the foundation is keep on cracking. And if they're attempting to remove the contents, the cracks becomes worse.
Yes.
We don't know the reason. We don't know the reason yet until we found the investigation. Okay, we found out that right after the construction, we found out that there is a hollow portion inside the silo system that makes the whole thing suspended. Supposedly, the silo system must be resting on ground.
yes.
So the findings was as that it is designed resting on the soil, but in fact, what's happening is it is sacrificed. The entire strength of the structure is sacrificed by putting itself into jeopardy through the presence of that void. So, as a consequence, we have to provide a rectification. We are sure that we don't have a problem because we provided we did our due diligence to solve the problem, and unfortunately it cost a lot of money just to rectify the 10. There are 10 silos, by the way. So as a result, as far as I remember correctly, it was a 320 million pesos of rectification procedure in order to make that that entire system workable.
Thank you, sir. What happens when a product fails the test? In your experience.
There are many. It depends on our standard. It depends the answer depending on the project, of course. To be fair, okay. If rather saying the right question would be is if the product fails a certain requirement. Like let's say if a product failed because of general fault, that's quite impossible. Probably it's what happens if a product fails a certain requirement. Okay. So that would be but some sort of a modification of material. For example, if let's go back to steel. If I provide the strength that is 248 megapascal, then and when I tested it, I found out that the value is lesser than 248, then I will have a second thought, of course. I will have a second thought. Okay. If I'm going to consider that as an engineer, I have two options. Number one, based on my current project, I will. What's the right word? I will automatically reject it. I will automatically reject it. And the other option to me, which is I'm going to modify the entire project that is based on the actual strength provided. That will be my other option. With that case, I can simply provide another the same quality, probably the same quality as the original, if that will be the case then.
Sir, have you encountered some contractors that had a problem on their construction projects and requested for your help?
That's most of the time. Yeah, the answer is to the question. Yes, most of the time I encounter a lot of let's say for example, if I have 10 projects, usually 8 of if I 8 projects. If I have 10 projects, 8 of which have a lot of RFIs, request for information, or RFAs, or request for approval.
Sir, can you please give a short message to aspiring QAs?
Aspiring QAs, okay.
QA engineers.
That's probably a tough question, honestly. But if you're going to ask me, if you're going to be under quality assurance, I would go what is written must be performed. But if there's such thing as a slight proximity to the real value, then the QA must provide a certain tolerance to the material, to the product's quality, to reach a certain quality of a project. And also one factor that could be included to have a very good QA is actually must provide a good communication with other people involved in a certain project.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.